In today's show, should the Eagles have cheered Fremantle's loss? Some movement at the Dockers. And we preview semi-final weekend in the AFL. Welcome to the West Sports Show. We are brought to you by TabTouch. Got the touch? Download the TabTouch app today. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. It's Thursday. It's semi-final time. I'm joined by Mitchell Woodcock. Mitch, it seems like forever since I've spoken to you across this table.
You dumped me last week.
I didn't dump you.
You dumped me for Michael Walters.
You were just traded out, and now you're traded back in. Now, Sonny was great, mate, but we had to make way. But always good to hear your thoughts.
I'm back. I'd have traded me out for Sonny Walters too, to be fair. It was great to hear Sonny on the podcast, and obviously a disappointing weekend for Freo. I haven't really spoken much about that.
So close, Mitch, so close.
I actually found myself at West Coast Club Champion Award, the John Worsfold Medal night.
Yes.
An interesting event at the same night as three drop punts down the road. There is an elimination final with Freo.
So tell us about the moment that the final result came through.
Okay, so I'm going to put this into a bit of context because there's a bit of conjecture out there about, was it one or two people and all that? No, it wasn't one or two people. So the dinner break, they timed perfectly for the last quarter. Myself, like many people throughout, had the game on our phones. They weren't going to broadcast it in the entire stadium. You could see why.
Not.
But I can tell you right now that I had a group of about 10 people around me watching it on my phone, and there was about 7 or 8 tables of about 600 people doing the same. And then you heard the ooh when Luke Jackson kicked the goal. Then you heard another little ooh and a bit more of a yes. Yeah. And Mac Andrew took the mark, and then a little bit more of a yes. And then when David Swallow kicked what they thought was a goal, I can tell you there was a resounding applause. There was some high-fiving. There was some cheering. There was a bit of sucked in to the opposition. And then there was a bit more of a ooh when the Neil Erasmus finger hit the ball.
So it was a loud, rousing welcome of the loss.
Yeah, and look, it's
fine. I have no issue with it.
So there's two things to it. People saying it's a non-story don't understand how the news works. It's a story because it creates interest, it creates rivalry. The second thing is, I just said it then, it creates rivalry. That brought the vision of Nat Fyfe before the 2018 grand final on the 7 broadcast saying he doesn't want West Coast to win, he wants Collingwood to win. Duh. Like, it's... The
way I put it, mate, it's not nasty. Look, we were disappointed that Freo lost because... we want them to go deep because...
yeah, because we want the interest.
Every year we would like a Derby grand final every year because it just goes deeper and deeper each year. But I was equally happy for David Swallow because it was just one of those great football stories. But I don't see anything wrong with a bit of rivalry. And of course they're going to cheer. I mean, that's just that's good for footy in this town.
I can tell you right now, if I was Andrew McCullough and Don Pike, I would be more worried if my players weren't... beat this out for me... off that Freo were playing finals and we weren't, and we're happy that they got bundled out. I'd be more worried if they were the opposite because that's what you should be. You should be annoyed that the other team in this 2-team state is there. You should be annoyed that you're not one of the 8 teams, and you should want to get there. I love it. Yep. Let's let it. And is it going to be brought up in next year's Derby presser? You better believe it. Is it going to be brought up next year's Derby? You better believe it. And maybe finally some of the derbies might have a little bit more in them than they have in the last few years. Because let's face it, the Q Clash is about to take over a little bit more in the derby rivalry at the moment. Everyone's talking about Zorko and Miller. The showdown is just fantastic.
It's ahead of the Western Derby.
And it's been
right
ahead
now
for a long time. And even I don't know, we don't like the name of it, but the Battle of the Bridge has played some serious finals.
The Sydney Derby or Derby.
Yeah, the Derby needs a little bit more. So you know what? I'm all for it. Anybody else getting up about it not being a story need to grow up. And anybody getting upset about it, enjoy it. It's good
absolutely
theatrics.
Needs an injection of hype. We'll get on to some Freo news in a moment and then we'll pick our winners for the weekend. But first, let's just talk West Coast. So Liam Ryan, as expected, has said, I want to be traded. St Kilda is his club of choice. Campbell Chesser wants to be traded. Carlton is his club of choice. What value do you think West Coast can get for those 2 players?
Well, I'll start with Liam Ryan because he's the one who I think actually has a real strong value. So Liam's got a 3-year deal on the table
at his age?
St Kilda.
Well, he's got the 3 years.
He's got a 3-year deal on the table at St Kilda. So that shows that they're committed to him until he's at least 32.
And contracted the West Coast till the end of next year.
Yep, so he's still contracted till the end of next year. A premiership player, an All-Australian only a few years ago, don't forget Quarters. So I think there is a definite a value in there. St Kilda don't have a second-round pick at the moment. It's actually at another club. So I would see a future second round. I think West Coast will be pretty happy with that. This year's draft, as everybody says, and I don't really buy into it.
A future second rounder for Liam Ryan?
Yes, I'm not sure. So there's this whole thing of this year's draft's not that strong. You can never tell. this year draft.
His
It's
future.
10 years.
Yeah,
but I
okay.
think a future second rounder for next year, there's some really good players coming through, depending on how the academies and father-son stuff deals out. Next year, West Coast are going to have a little bit of a say in some things. There's some really good players coming through next year's crop.
Why not Ambit claim it and go ask for a player as well if he's contracted and they want him that badly?
Well, it depends on what you can get. So there's been a little bit of link to Jack Steele to maybe a move out of St Kilda. It would be a massive for you
Was
to
out of
trade
favour for Ross Lyon late in the season, so he's gettable.
It'd be massive for you to trade your captain, though. We're seeing that at the moment with Zach Merritt. So
Will he be their captain next year?
Zach Merritt?
No.
Oh, Jack Steele? No, I would expect Callum Wilkie to take that role.
There you go. So he won't be the captain next year.
No, but I'm curious to see where that lands. So look, if you could maybe package up a Jack Steele, West Coast could take his contract quite comfortably. It would alleviate some room on the books because we know St Kilda are going for anything that's not nailed to the floor.
Yeah, well,
and anything that is nailed to the floor.
TDK's going there.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's nailed to the floor, they're taking it. If it's not, they've already taken it. And good on them for that, by the way. But yeah, so Liam Ryan, I think, has got a really good one. Campbell Chesser, West Coast fans need to get a bit of realism.
Well, he's picked 14, so...
Yeah, but he's out of contract quarters.
I know, but he was still... Yes, okay.
He's out of contract. He's played 36 games. Has had over 20 disposals once. I'm actually going to put my hand up. I'm a big fan of Campbell Chesser. I'm disappointed he's going. We
don't know how good he is because he's just been too injury interrupted.
But the glimpses I've seen later half of the year, the ball use going forward, the ability to get into space, and finally when he got his confidence up, his ability to run and really power through the contest. I actually thought he was I thought next year on a wing, done. Maybe even as a halfback mover. I thought he could develop into those roles. I'm not sure an inside midfielder is his go.
No.
But as that outside wingman and maybe even that, Lockie Ash, mover out of defence, I thought that could have been a go for him. I think that's what Carlton are going to use him for because they really need some speed and zip. But the problem is he's out of contract. We haven't seen the best of him. He isn't a known commodity. Just because he's a first-round draft pick coming out of COVID times, don't forget, doesn't mean that they're going to get a first-rounder back for him. I could see possibly a third-round draft pick coming back from Carlton, or unless West Coast can try and get another player out of there, which I don't see happening.
Let's move over to Fremantle. And Joe Bridie, the head of football, spoke this morning. He spoke about Jye Amiss. What did he have to say about Jye?
Yeah, so Jye obviously had that disappointing game at the weekend, 2 disposals and a goal, and then subbed out. But emphatically backed the young man. And it was interesting. We were speaking to our producer, Josh, before this, and he said, how old is Jye? And I was 21, turning 22. He's actually only played 4 seasons as a key forward. And I think we forget that. A lot of key forwards that have his output in his 4th season, a lot of clubs would actually be really happy with that. It's just because since late in his first year, he's pretty much been a regular, or has been a regular in that 22. I get the feeling Fremantle are quite happy no matter who's getting a lick of the ice cream between Amiss, Tracy and Voss, as long as they're kicking 8 goals between them.
It's been a successful triumvirate, hasn't it, this year? If you take out that Amiss has been a bit up and down, mainly, hasn't had a great year, but still productive, but in comparison to previous years, but the 3 have worked.
100%.
Yeah.
I reckon Jye Amiss is a victim of Hayden Young not being there. So Caleb Strong and Andrew Brayshaw, as greater players as they are, they're not elite kicks. They are bomb inside 50, get it up, get it going, right? Tracy and Voss, that's the kind of player they are. They're crash packs, contested marks, get out in space, Jye Amiss is your traditional lead-up forward, which is a very hard role to play in the modern game, but can be played. We've seen it. Jeremy Cameron is that. You wouldn't say he crashes packs, would you, Jeremy Cameron? You would say he takes contested marks, but you would say he's a very straight-line leading forward, beats his man on pace. I would say Jye Amiss is that man. You put Hayden Young back in that team, that lethal left foot. Murphy Reid goes up into the midfield a bit more. I reckon you'll see Jye Amiss have a better year. But I was more interested in some of the comments he made around Luke Jackson today.
Yeah, so Luke Jackson, and I'll just butt in here at this point, I'll double down. I wrote during the year, and I believe it's still to be true, he wanted out. But things change, and the Melbourne's coach is no longer there. And Freo was never really they're never going to let him go unless there was a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and that pot of gold could have had Kasai Pickett involved, but he's re-signed. So really not much opportunity, and he's now got through his exit meeting and will be playing with Freo next year.
And don't forget, they finished, I think it was 11 of their last 13 they won. They finished with a flurry. All of a sudden, happy football clubs, happy players, happy form. Interestingly, Bridie basically committed that they want him to be developing as a midfielder more next year. So it looks like it's going to be that midfield ruck role where they can throw him in the forward line if they need be. We've seen him do that. We saw him do that in the final at the weekend. We've seen him do it all year where he can go in and kick a clutch goal. But expect him to really play that hybrid role. They're going to back this 2-ruck system, Quarters, no matter what. Darcy's not going anywhere. They're going.
Liam Reedy's asked for a trade.
Yeah, we'll get into those in a second. Yeah. But I'm amazed. Quarters, they're doubled down on this. This 2-ruck thing's not going anywhere. So,
but
Luke Jackson's the key to it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It actually is more welcoming now when you think about, so grand final week, the AFL Commission will be putting its hand up on quite a few issues. One of them is going to be 5 players on the interchange bench, so no sub.
Which opens
That's going to help your 2 ruckmen.
And then if they bring in the last touch rule, all of a sudden an athletic ruckman like Jackson becomes very valuable too, don't they? Because, and so did the kick down the line ruckman like Sean Darcy. So I'm interested to see the way this goes. You mentioned Liam Reedy, so he's requested a trade to Carlton as well, so him and Campbell Chesser could be teammates by the end of October. Will Brodie has reported along the way by Mitch Cleary, has requested a trade to Port Adelaide. Got a link back up with Josh Carr, who was at Freo when he first started. Hasn't had an opportunity since round 7, 2023.
If I'm him, I'm running 1,000,000 miles away from Freo.
Yep.
Got to have an opportunity.
But you know what? Freo, credit to where they are. Ultimate insurance policy. If one of Caleb Serong or Andrew Brayshaw went down, they had him. Ready-made AFL player. Is he a star and All-Australian? No. But a ready-made AFL player to walk in and do a job.
So the Oscar McDonald of the midfield. So Oscar McDonald's an interesting one who's just re-signed, who did absolutely zero wrong when he came back into that side.
No, and probably the unlucky one not to be playing at the weekend. I actually thought him and Brandon Walker were very unlucky not to be in, and I think in hindsight...
Having said that, he's replaced Alex Pearce, who took 5 intercept marks in the last quarter, which is an AFL record in a final.
It was incredible too. And Brandon Walker, I think, should have played in hindsight now on that small those small forwards. But we can get into that all year. But so they've re-signed Jeremy Sharp, as I reported as well, 2 years. I reported Oscar McDonald. Michael Fredericks extended his deal beyond next year for 3 more years to the end of 2029. And they've delisted Odin Jones, who didn't play at all this year, had a freak accident in November last year and had spinal surgery. So sad to see him. Really talented young man. And Jack Delian, I can never say his last name, Delian. He is South Australian, 2 years on the list. Led Peel's goal kicking with 21 majors and 16
never got
games.
an opportunity at AFL level.
Well, it just got overtaken by, your Dudley, your Murphy Reid. Walters was in there. He a talented young enough player, but probably just down that pecking order of small forwards. Bolton comes in, was never going to get a go. So that'll change it up. Interestingly, with McDonald and Sharp coming off the rookie list as well, Quarters. So they will have a few spots open on their AFL
Can you
list.
see a spot for Sharp?
Yes.
So the big knock on him's been his kicking. He does a hell of a lot of running, a very good athlete, covers a lot of Ks.
I think he's one of those guys that, again, will benefit from Murphy Reid and Hayden Young being more in the midfield. If you've got him, and again, I feel like I'm bashing Brayshaw and Serong. I'm not. They're wonderful footballers, but they're not the greatest.
Well, see, I'm going to add a third.
You can't have all 3 of them in there.
You're also going to need, they need one more big body in that midfield. It could be O'Driscoll. So there's another opening on a wing for him.
Yeah.
Frederick's an interesting one. So I'm a fan. The problem with Michael Frederick, the gulf between the best and worst is so big.
And it's massive.
And we saw the worst at the weekend, but we've seen the best this year. He's actually rolled off a career best season in all metrics. So we've seen, I think you saw the difference to that team without Sam Switkowski at the weekend. You put Switkowski in that side, I think you'll see a different Michael Frederick.
Yeah.
And I think when they're up and about, his pace, his beautiful footwork, I think he adds a real value to that forward line.
Yeah, and if I'm the coaching staff at Freo, I would start setting a trend of him saying, I want you to do 3 chase down tackles a game.
Yeah, but
I want you to aim for that because I think that gets him in the game too when he's not in the game. I think when he's not getting kicked to him, or he's best off when there's those fast breaks from half back and he's taking his opponent the other way. But when that's not happening and the game gets clogged down, Michael Frederick gets a bit spectatory.
Yeah,
so I want to see him chase down and tackle from the forward line.
But I want to see him.
There
are his values on the road, particularly.
Yeah, but I want to see him. I want to see him maybe chase down, tackle, and that'll also relieve the pressure if Sam Switkowski's not there. Because let's face it, when he's not there, their ground ball pressure inside 50 is pretty poor. Like Tracy will hunt and tackle,
so will
scare
Voss.
You, and so will Voss. But Bolton and Frederick aren't your natural rundown tacklers. They'll put pressure on. Murphy Reid will as well.
Switkowski's the man
but
there.
Switkowski's the guy who does that. He's the one that you're worried about coming behind you. I actually think he's a lot more solid than people think in terms of his body size too. So if I'm the Freo coaching staff, I'm saying to him, mate, aim for 3 a game. If you don't get him, that's fine, but try to get him. I want to see you run down some guys. You got pace. Use it both ways.
So what are you giving them? Is it an A, B, C? What sort of a C? I'm giving them a B plus because they got finals, which we wanted them to do, off 16 wins, which is we get your top 4 in the past. 1 point loss, it's a hard one. It might be might be a B or a B minus, but it's there. What I do want to see, and my theory about Freo is, I think the coach can coach.
Yes, we've said
but he's not an extrovert. And I think the team sometimes plays an introverted type of play. What I didn't like at the weekend was they've hauled back in the Gold Coast lead. They've got all the momentum. Luke Jackson kicks the goal. They've got all the momentum. The shutters go up. The sign goes up. Tracy has to go back. Why are they playing to survive and to defend the lead? Keep winning.
The only way that the weekend turns into a positive, well, there's two ways actually for me, is one is they learn from that mistake because McAndrew followed Tracy. It wasn't the other way around.
100% he did, yeah.
It wasn't the other way around. And Tracy then couldn't defend. So instead of being the spare man...
Well, he can defend. It was just...
But he didn't.
He didn't in that instance.
And so either someone needed to go with McAndrew to help Tracy to be the spare, or Tracy needed to put some body on him. Instead, he got nowhere near him, watched the ball and watched McAndrew rope over him.
If you're a genuine premiership contender... You play to win. And yes, you can put up the shutters, but I thought that was too early.
Do you think it becomes a mindset thing for Sarong and Brayshaw and stuff, who were the ultimate competitors? And I thought Caleb Sarong,
sensational
that was one of the best games he's ever played.
Yeah, it was.
But when you throw a man behind the ball and you're saying that to them, are you saying we're backing, or I wonder if it's a mindset for Rowell and Anderson, the other way, we're backing us to lose that clearance?
Yes.
So is that Rowell and Anderson thinking they don't trust these two? We're going to beat them? Or is that those two thinking... They don't trust us, we're going to get beaten?
I think they would agree that as good as they are, they're smaller. They need bigger bodies in there. So Hayden Young will provide that. O'Driscoll could provide that. But if you've got, for example, at the weekend, hindsight's a wonderful thing, Mitch, but I'd have Fife at that final stoppage. Yep. So that final stoppage, it was Alex Davies who got it to Rowell, who managed to get his foot on the ball. It goes forward.
Three big boys.
We saw what I want Fife in there for that last stoppage. But I'm not, I just like let's win the game.
I agree with you. The second thing that comes out of the weekend for me, and I wrote this on Sunday in my column for Monday, and I actually think it's a real positive. Freo now have to finish top 4 next year because the fact they got bundled out at the weekend means their fixture is going to be easier than the 6 teams ahead of them. They've got that game down in Bunbury next year against North Melbourne, so they're getting that extra game again. For me...
So not top 6 in a win?
No, it's got to be
that was my starting point.
No, it's got to be top 4 next year for me, Quarters. That's the pass mark for them. They've set themselves up now. Shea Bolton's going to have another year gelling with his teammates. There's not going to be the shadow, and this is no disrespect to Nat Fife, but there's not going to be the shadow of Fife over the likes of Erasmus, O'Driscoll, Johnson, waiting for him to come back and see if they've got their place in the team. No, it's going to be the place is yours.
So you've got Johnson as well as a bigger body too.
But now hold it. Jackson playing that role full-time instead of training as a forward. The 3 tools are now gelling, and they're all a year older. Like, I can't wait to see what shape they come back in. And then their defensive end looks really strong, and maybe a Cooper Simpson off a halfback to add some pace.
I think that's the other thing. They do need another elite kick out of defence, and I think he provides it.
But the expectation now for me has to be top 4 or bust next year. If they don't finish top 4, it's a wasted season.
Let's pick some winners, Mitch, but before we do, let's hear from our old mate, David Short from Tab Touch.
Shorty's Tips.
G'day, producer Josh here, and joining me in the studio is David Short from Tab Touch. G'day, Shorty.
Hello, Josh. How are you?
I'm good. And who is hot this week?
Running hot are the Cats. They were absolutely magnificent last week against Brisbane. They're now into clear-cut favouritism, $2.60 to win the flag.
Cats have had a really good injury run, but not so much for Brisbane lately.
Indeed, and that's where the cooler comes in. Lockie Neal, it was really tough watching him last weekend go down late in that game with a calf injury. Unfortunately, his season's now done.
You're still sticking with the Lions for your hot tip?
Hot tip, I'll take a same-game multi with a few lines to play well. So I'll go McLuggage. I don't think he'll get tagged, so I'll take him for 25 or more. Jasper Fletcher's been sort of a lock for 20 through the season, so I'll take him for 20 plus. And Kyle Lohman, I think he'll get off the chain with a 3rd or 4th defender, kick 2 or more goals. Throw those 3 together, that's paying $5.
Is it those injuries that have sort of set Brisbane back on the drift a little bit this weekend?
I think a little bit, and the momentum that's coming for Gold Coast. They were backed as the outsider last week, the Suns, and that's been the case again. Accordingly, Brisbane, who opened at $1.48, have now blown out to $1.57.
Nice. And it's a Hawks star back in one of his favourite states to play this weekend. Who's your player to watch?
Big time. Jack Ginnivan. So he, as much as he has created friction and not necessarily had a lot of love from the crowd at this venue, he's actually thrived on it. So I think he'll have a really good game here. Last week, 17 disposals, 3 goals, and the Hawks win over the Giants. This time around for this weekend, he's paying $2.70 to kick 2 or more. I think that's pretty achievable. And if he can do what he did last week and kick 3, that's $7. So I thought that was a bit of value about Ginnivan this weekend.
Should be a cracking weekend. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Josh.
Friday night,
Woo!
Adelaide Oval. Adelaide $1.80. Hawthorn $2.02.
How are you feeling?
As a Hawthorn supporter, good.
How were you feeling on Saturday afternoon?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, it was the best final of the weekend up until about 5:30 p.m. and then the best final followed that for Fremantle Gold Coast.
Little birdie told me you might have been sitting in the car at the front of Optus Stadium listening to the final quarter.
Sitting in the car at Optus Stadium, listening to it on my phone and watching it on my phone. Fair to say, the Freo supporters and the occasional Gold Coast supporter walking past, watching the car shake, rattle and roll as I punched the steering wheel a couple of times. And
they would have thought something else is going on there, all the steam and the car moving.
I know.
You don't go knocking on those, do you?
Yeah, don't bother knocking. This car's a rocket. And I was just, it was a remarkable game. I thought full credit to GWS, 2 players down to stage that comeback, and then for Hawthorn to halt momentum.
Geez, they can't defend. The Giants, they can't.
No, they can't, but Hawthorn certainly can. So these are the areas that I thought...
72 inside 50s.
Yes, 72.
Wow, they defended
So
like
if you
crazy.
defend 72 inside 50s, your defence is going okay.
And your finals brand is good because let's face it, sometimes inside the dirty ball happens, repeated entries happen, pressure happens. So that's
a different kettle of fish this week because you've got the 3 big Adelaide tools. However, I think... I might be surprised, but I think Hawthorn's still 2 elite midfielders short. So the news is they're going after Zach Merritt, if not Christian Petrarca, if not Zach Butters. But with Will Day back in that side, I still think they need one more to really, really challenge. I think right now the midfield's is a bit similar. You know, you've got Jordan Dawson as the elite for Adelaide and you've got Jye Newcombe as the elite for Hawthorn, but there's not a lot of depth to the midfields in terms of elite talent.
No, and obviously Josh Rochelli's confirmed is coming back in for the Crows.
So
he'll add that spark, but I thought against the Magpies quarters, the Bulls for the Crows did really well and got to work, but without the spark of Rankin or Rochelli or that outside movement, their ball movement was shocking. They kicked it inside 50. Their forwards were out of position. Darcy Moore cleaned up like a good backman should.
After a really shaky start, yeah.
And they looked completely lost for a second avenue. They need good ball movements in there. Like, you know, you can have the Bulls, your Berries and your Dawsons, you know, those kind of guys. I think they should have thrown Ben Keys in there a little bit earlier to try and get some class around it. They just didn't have it. So it'll be interesting to see. But, you know, I find this week interesting, Corders. This is the week where we all romance the team that won the elimination final and the team that lost the qualifying final.
We do, but it often Adelaide did finish on top of the ladder. Did concede 7 goals in a row last week for the first time this season. Was outscored 46-2 between the 20-minute mark of the second turn to the 16-minute mark of the third turn by Collingwood.
They got Jordan de Goeid.
They did. They got
Jordan de
Goeid. So a couple of things worth noting. So Jordan Dawson, well sat on by Ned Long, the bigger body. So expect Connor Nash to go to him this weekend. He's also averages less than 20 disposals against the Hawks. So it's just one of those matchups. Hawthorn, here's one. Jye Newcombe, just expect Peatling to go to him. Someone needs to sit on Jye Newcombe and seriously tag him. 3 finals, number 1 rated player on the ground in all of them. Yep. So you need, if you can take Jye Newcombe out of that game, you're going to probably beat Hawthorn at home. So that's how important that is. Hawks have won 3 of their last 4 matches against Adelaide by an average of 32. Here's a really interesting one. Hawthorn has recorded a post-clearance pressure factor of 166. Very important in finals. Ranked equal first in the AFL with the Crows. So really important. I thought Blake Hardwick's game was amazing last week. Possibly go to Rochelli. He did a really good job on Chobe Green. No Cal Shadir for Hawthorn. It's probably going to be Mitch Lewis in. Just keep your eye on Cam McKenzie, maybe a Huswaite, just for a bit because they absolutely starred for Box Hill in the VFL last week. I'm going to pick the Hawks. It's going to be tight, but, you know, I have to go with what my heart says on this one.
No happiness insurance in September, is there?
No such thing as happiness. You go for it, Mitch.
No,
That's why Freo should have gone for it, mate.
I'm going the Crows. I'm not going to get sucked into this.
Okay.
In this, you know, week 1 loser, they're going to get bundled out. I think it would be the first time since like 1980 something that the minor premiers get bundled out.
We do see it.
Weeks.
It's so common that we just write them off and they bounce back. So I fully expect them to bounce back. There's a lot of pressure on Adelaide this week.
By the way, did you see the scenes with Jack Ginnivan in the Adelaide Airport?
Fantastic.
All the cameras, all the photos.
He's filming them.
All the journalists. You know what I love about it? Two things I love about it, and we come from WA, so we do this a little bit too. I love the parochial nature of the Adelaide media going, we're going to bombard him. Yeah. So it's putting pressure on him.
Yeah, good on him.
I love it. You back your team. I love Jack Ginnivan filming him back, putting his headphones on, pretending it's absolutely normal. Brilliant stuff. Absolutely love it. Obviously, the winner of this game will go on to play Geelong. Good luck to them, because I think Geelong are
they're
flying at the moment.
By the way, what'd you make of the Bailey Smith stuff?
Disgusting, disgraceful, grow up.
Yeah, walked past the photographer, a female photographer, the Geelong Advertiser, a place I hold dearly. Worked there for many years, just doing her job.
Yep.
Just the pressure got too much. And to his credit, he's spoken to by the club about it. The club rang her and apologised, and he also issued an apology to her. So he's done that.
Text, by the way.
Sorry?
Via text.
Okay, but still, the club was...
I'm of the opinion, I'm sorry,
He needs to call?
He should have called. He should have invited her in. He should take her for a coffee. He should explain his side of things. The fact you don't have to swear at her, which is intimidating.
Yeah, that was very poor. She genuinely felt intimidated. So she was trying to swing her camera around to shoot the other players because she thought, oh, hang on, what's going on?
And I'm sorry, but if you don't want public attention, then get rid of the Cotton On ads. Stop dating the social media star. Stop posting yourself on social. Stop running around.
Yeah,
no, I'm sorry. You want the money and you want to be in the public eye? That's what you do.
A very, very
and
good
it was
argument.
also an open training session, and he did that on the sidelines. That is not private. You want to get private.
Yep.
There's a change room down the bottom. I'm sorry, but as far as I'm concerned, Geelong should be fining him. The AFL should be fining him, and he should be told to grow up.
Well, let's see how he goes in the...
Won't happen, though. Won't happen because Geelong beats their own rule. Geelong just get away with murder at the moment.
So Adelaide by how much?
Adelaide by 20.
Okay, 20. Okay,
Hawks by how much then?
Hawks by 10.
Okay.
I think it'd be a bit closer than you think. The Gabba, Saturday night, $1.57 Brisbane. Gold Coast Suns, $2.40, let's be honest. The biggest Q clash ever. The most important game of football ever played in the eastern corridor of Queensland. It's a fantastic thing. Interestingly, the Suns travelling on that 1 hour long arduous bus trip to the Gold Coast, doing it on Friday night. So they're travelling together as a group on the Friday night. Clearly two contrasting sides. Brisbane with that kick mark. The Gold Coast clearance, absolute kings. Gold Coast scored 84 points from clearances against Brisbane in round 20. It's most in any match on record. 44-1 from centre bounces, Mitch. That's an unbelievable disparity. Jared Witt's in great form last week. Do they bring in Oscar McInerney?
I don't think so. I think they'll go with Darcy Fort. McInerney's a bit injured. This is the game... I know I said I get romanced. I don't want to be romanced by the loser of the first week, and I'll be tipping the Lions. The only reason I'm hesitant is, they've lost Lockie Neal. You add that to Ryan, Lester, Gardner. Like the injuries are
still
mounting.
No Hitwood, so he didn't play last week, but he's been ruled out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, so I'm really concerned about the Lions' injuries. Obviously, they've got really good depth in that midfield, and I thought McCluggage was well held last week, and if the Suns can hold him again, then they'll go a long way to winning.
So Damien Harbick has come out and said, we're not going to tag. So he was really well tagged by Geelong last week, but they're not going to do it. They said, no.
You can say that, though, but when he has 10 in the first quarter and
who's going to tag him?
Well, you can send Took Miller to him.
Maybe. Well, Took Miller, I think he'll have his hands full with Dane Zorko. They do not like each other. Do not like each other.
Is that a little pun from a while back?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, don't worry.
What do they call it? The pineapple grapple?
Oh, yeah, the pineapple grapple.
So, don't condone that, by the way.
Lions have won 13 of their last 15 matches against Gold Coast at the Gabba. Not surprising that. They've got a great record. They're dating back to round 21, 2011 by an average margin of 45 points. As you said, Hugh McCluggage kept to 7 disposals in the 59 minutes he was matched up on Mullen last week. It was managing a season-low 14 disposals, his fewest since round 1, 2023. Expect Bruce Reveal probably comes back in that side. Zach Bailey, Cam Rayner, Levi Ashcroft probably have more midfield minutes in Lockie Neal's absence. I think Gold Coast were fantastic last week. Couple of questions. David Swallow. Is he the sub again after the romance of last week? Will Graham's in the mix. Dimmer loves him. Can give him some versatility, midfielder or a half forward. So just don't rule it out. Matt Rowell, great form last week. Bailey Humphrey, is he some player? 3 goals last week. 6th youngest player to kick 3+ goals in a quarter in a final last week. And the first since Jack Darling in 2012. I'm going to tip the Lions. I think they win by 4 to 5 goals. It's easy, again, to remember how week one reflections. This is a side with very good depth. This is an elite side at moving the ball from half back into their forward 50. This is a side that doesn't lose two in a row too often. So I think Brisbane gets the job done here.
I think Brisbane's experience will stand up. I think Cam Rayner will go through the midfield a little bit more in Lachie Neale's absence.
So Brisbane can Brisbane beat Collingwood in the prelim?
No.
I think they can.
No, I don't think they can. I don't think they can without Lachie Neale and Hipwood. I think Logan Morris has been incredible in his first just about 2 seasons, but I just think without Hipwood and Danaher to take that number one defender, it's going to be really hard. But
I think they can. I think they can beat Collingwood. I think it'll be a Geelong-Brisbane grand final.
No, I'm going Geelong-Collingwood grand final at the moment. It's going to sound boring. It's going to be annoying for people.
Not boring.
But it's going to be. But they're the two best teams right now at the moment. I'm excited by them. But as much as I've criticised Bailey Smith.
I don't think there's any two teams I want to win less.
As a footballer, though, watching Bailey Smith against Nick Dacos, watching Max Holmes against Josh Dacos, or watching Jordan De Goey get tagged by Ocean Mullen on the grand stage, like watching Pendlebury and Sidebottom running around with Dangerfield in there, like that's going to be a really
5
good
points
matchup.
in it late, get the ball in their hands, see what they can do.
Jeremy Cameron up against Darcy Moore.
Don't write off Brisbane. That's all I'm saying.
I'd be more confident if one of the 5 guys that were injured were playing, and probably more confident if Lachie Neale was out there. But I do worry about them. I think they'll get the win this week. I think Rayner will go in the midfield. I think they'll win by about 3 goals. I think Gold Coast will be in it.
You thought Rayner was all right last week. Let's take the diving out of it, which we didn't like. It was a terrible decision by the umpire, and it was a terrible double goal. But I thought he actually had a crack after that.
No, he was great.
It would have been easy to sort of crawl up into your shell. You're getting booed, etc. But I thought he really tried to give him a spark in the second half.
He embraced it, and I'd like to see him go all the way and have a real good game tomorrow. I think he'll be in the midfield where he really will shine.
Is there a player who's the combination of difficulty to tackle and tackler? Is there a better combination? I think he's the best in the comp at tackling and avoiding being tackled.
Yeah, no, he'd be up there, definitely. I love the way he runs through packs, straight line through packs. I think it's incredible. Josh Tracy would be up there.
Yeah.
I know that sounds ridiculous.
Bigger boy.
Yeah, but no, Cam Rayner has solidified himself as a genuinely good number 1 draft pick in the last 3 years.
Very excited right at the moment, Mitch, because it's Thirsty Camel mailbag time. This week's special Swan Draft stubbies. Camel Club member price is $57.99 a carton. Join up in store or online today. We're giving away a $50 digital voucher, as we always do, thanks to our longtime sponsors and friends, Thirsty Camel. Get your questions in for next week to TheWestSport at wanews.com.au. Ooh, to be preliminary
Swan
final
draft,
week.
$57.99
Not bad,
for a block.
Leave your mobile number at the bottom of your email, as we'll send you the voucher if you're a weekly winner.
Hit me, Quarters. What do we got?
Okay, this one from Paul from Rockingham. Hi, guys. Now that the Dockers season is over, I've restocked on chamomile tea.
Oh, good man.
Mitch sat down and had time to reflect on our season. Personally, I give them a pass mark. Although it was a disappointing way to end, I'm looking forward to next season because I think we can finish in the top 4. Just need to get a couple of players to make us a more rounded team. What should Fremantle do? Look at the draft or recruit mature players. P.S. My footy isn't over yet, as I'll be off to the Waffle Grand Final to watch the mighty Bulldogs.
Love it. Get around the Waffle
hard
Grand
to beat
Final.
South Fremantle.
Yeah, very good team. Obviously, the preliminary final between East Perth and Claremont at Leaderville Oval. Very excited for that game, by the way. That's going to be fiery. In terms of Freo, I like the fact they're going for Judd McVie. I think it works. I know Trent Rivers' name was brought up. He won't be coming home. He's contracted to Melbourne, and they like him. I think he's actually a future captain of that club. If I'm honest, I think they should be looking at Jacob Farrow. They've got pick 11 at the moment. That'll push out to about 15, 16 after academies and compensation from free agency, is put through. I think Jacob Farrow from West Perth, Hayden Young-esque type of player, can be really put under his wing by him. I think he suits their style. He's a workman-like. They'll bring in Toby Wan as an NGA at some point as well. So they'll get some good players through that.
Hi, team. I'm concerned that the Eagles are going to be burnt if they bring in Brandon Starcevic on a long-term deal for good money. On the plus side, he appears to be a model professional that will fully invest and offer mentoring and set standards in training and preparation. On the negative side, he has an extensive history of concussions and may only be one more away from having his career significantly curtailed. More to the point, he is a mid-sized back, and with Hoff and Ginby already, it's one position we definitely don't lack in. I would suggest another key back, and now leg speed through the midfield are higher priorities. Your thoughts, please? That's John. I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, what I would say is West
Brandon's
Coast...
a good player.
Yeah, and West Coast would be doing their due diligence, so they would have his medical records. Interestingly, when I spoke to Dr. Peter Larkin after Jeremy McGovern's concussion case where he had to go to the panel, He said a lot of players go to the panel or get tested without us knowing in the media. And you'll have to wonder if maybe Starcevic has had a similar experience and then the Eagles are aware. I know Essendon were keen up, but we believe now it's between the Eagles and Brisbane. You have to wonder if everyone's aware of those situations. And I would dare say if the Eagles aren't, they will be before the e-signs on the dotted line. So kind of the perfect player they need in terms of experience, as everybody
beautifully
says.
in that mid-age, mid-range player.
But so was Oscar Allen. Mm-hmm. So, and everyone knows how I feel about that, not just because they're losing Oscar Allen, but because I just don't understand the free agency. I understand how it works. I just don't understand why this is the result of it. It's broken the system.
Well, if there's no compensation, he's still hanging around.
Exactly.
Hey, boys, if the rumours are true, that Lachie Neale is potentially interested in finishing his career in Perth, and the Eagles can get an assistant package that includes a pick they have to trade out. The Eagles should pursue him. They got to offer him a 3-year contract. He would play as much as possible in the first 2 years and transition into a playing coach in the third on limited game time. If he needs a rest, send him to the waffle. It would provide, imagine that.
Jesus.
He would provide invaluable experience there. His body isn't what he used to be, but if he is well rested and managed, he could potentially provide the kind of leadership and experience the Eagles need without costing them anything. If the Eagles can get Neale, Starcevic and Devon Robinson out of Brisbane, a couple of other senior players from elsewhere and top-end talent at the draft, they'll have a much improved 2026. That was from Josh.
Okay, so I'm going to go the Neale thing first.
Yes.
I've checked in on this. As far as I'm aware, it's not true.
It's always there, that rumour, because his partner is from Perth.
WA. So what I'm going to say is, okay, if you're Lachie Neale, I want you to sit down at a table. I want you to look at what's happening right now. So Brisbane are bringing in Oscar Allen. They're bringing in Sam Draper. They're getting Daniel Annable, who's a top 3 draft pick for nothing. They're maybe losing Archie and maybe losing Starcevic, but they've still got a very good depth.
No
of
hit would
players.
probably for 2/3 of the season, having an ACL, having a
Logan Morris is still young. The Ashcrofts are still young. Jasper Fletcher has not reached his peak.
He's a good player, Jasper
I
Fletcher.
think is a All-Australian, best
No
and
question.
fairest, captain-esque sort of player. Harris Andrews is still in the prime of his career. You're getting a lot of stuff coming in your way. There's Berry, McCluggage. I could just go on forever. They're going to be in the premiership window for the next 3 years, which is about how long you would think at 32 Lachie Neale has left. Now you look at the other situation. You come to West Coast. They've won in the last 4 years 11 games. They're very young. I understand it's a chance to be at home and stuff like that, but for 3 years, are you really giving up the chance to have...
Depends how much...
Another 2 flags?
Could be a family situation.
Or,
you might want to just spend time around... it's...
You know what? Here's what I will say. If they're worried about getting Brandon Starcevic's head checked, if Lachie Neale comes to West Coast, they need to get his head checked.
I really want to give it to Josh.
He's had another 3 or 4, hasn't he?
He has won a few.
We can't have him. We can't do it. We can't do it. Thirsty Camel.
You know what I'm going to do? And I reckon Paul might have had one before too, but I'm going to go with Paul from Rockingham.
All right, Paul.
Just because he brought back the chamomile tea.
Put the chamomile tea down. Go and get a slab of the draft.
Chamomile tea?
Me?
I don't like, but
no, I had the sore throat 2 weeks ago, and I had the ginger tea.
Peppermint, mate. Peppermint and ginger. It's way to go.
Bang. I'm actually really big into the peppermint hot chocolate.
Yeah, or just get some hot water, put some honey in it, and just get a fresh lemon and squeeze that in there. That'll do the job.
Are you a hot water drinker?
I love it.
Really?
What do you mean, hot water?
Some people just drink hot water.
Oh, God, no.
What the hell is wrong with people?
What would you just drink hot water for? Who drinks hot water?
I've known like 4 or 5 people
with lemon in it or something. You got to have something in it.
That's not just hot water.
No, surely no one just drinks hot water.
I've seen it.
No, you're making that up.
All right, we'll talk about next week.
You have been listening to the West Sports Show. It's just where we've got ourselves into some hot water, Mitch. We have been brought to you by Tab Touch. Got the touch? Download the Tab Touch app today. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Hot water. Remember, you can watch or listen to this podcast on YouTube Music. Leave us a rating and a review. And don't forget to follow this podcast so you don't miss an episode. Mitch, I look forward to talking to you as we preview next week, preliminary final weekend, the purest weekend in football.
I'm going to go boil the kettle.